and it's House Bill 59, and it only applies to HOAs. So for the moment, we're just going to talk about a bill that applies to HOAs, and it has to do with the association being required to give copies of the governing documents to all of its owners, right?
Okay.
And, you know, sometimes I never got those. I never got those documents. I didn't know. Start us off on it.
Okay, yes. So before October 1st, 2024, an association shall
provide.
not may, shall provide a physical or digital copy, so it would be on their website or emailed to them.
Yes, you're right.
Of the association's rules and covenants to every member of the association.
That's coming up. October 1st isn't
that
far
is,
away.
yeah, you're right.
Think about that. Everybody got to get a copy. And it kind of sounds fair when you think about it, right? Everybody in the community, who can argue about that? You know, everybody in the community should have a copy of the governing documents, right? So they know exactly what the rules are.
Correct.
And what provisions they have to follow. You know, it's that way certainly can't plead ignorance.
No.
Right? If they're given a copy of it.
Not a defense. But some HOA communities have over 1,000 homes.
Right.
Okay. So, and the docs can be hundreds of pages. So that's going to be expensive, you know, for an HOA to mail all those docs, print them all up to every owner.
No question.
They have to mail it.
But that's well, the point being, that's how much the Florida legislature focused on unit owner rights this year. Any argument against unit owner rights was thrown into the waste paper basket, right? It was just, if we're going to doubt, we're going to doubt in favor of the unit owners this year.
Okay.
So here's where else the bill goes on to say, an association shall provide physical or digital copies of the association rules and covenants to every new member of the association.
Well, that makes sense.
So, yeah, so if you move in, they have to give it to you when you move in.
When we moved into our condo, they gave us everything.
Great.
And that's what I'm assuming that they did that in the past.
Not required.
Not for HOAs.
Right.
Oh.
Not required. So that's something that's going to be signed.
It doesn't say thou shalt not paint your door purple.
But then when you do, you know, you can't plead ignorance anymore.
Right, because you got the thing.
That's the bottom law.
And of course, new members should certainly get a copy of the docs and rules for the same reason. I mean, they need to know how to conduct themselves, because you don't want Cynthia coming up with violations.
Right.
Violations.
Right, great commercial. One of the all-time greats. All right, no question, I agree with that. But the law continues. If an association's rules or covenants, and I love this one, if an association's rules or covenants are amended, the association must provide every member of the association with an updated copy of the amended rules and covenants, right? An association may adopt rules establishing standards for their manner of distribution and time frame for providing copies of updated rules or covenants. Many times the unit owners vote on whether or not they should amend their documents. They go through this whole voting process. Did it go through? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, and they don't know.
You have no idea.
They're going to know.
I mean, it makes total sense, right? Oh my gosh. So if the owners vote on something and it passes, the owners should know that it passes.
No question, just common sense, and we can keep going. Here's how the association saves money, though, when it's about what you brought up. The requirements of this subsection may be met by posting a copy of the association's rules and covenants or a direct link thereto on the homepage of the association's website, if such website is accessible to the members of the association, and the association sends notice to each member of the association of its intent to utilize the website for this purpose.
So they don't have to send the pages and pages.
It's all up there for you guys to see, right?
Just send a letter saying you can access it here.
Exactly, and the notice can be sent by email to any member of the association who has consented to receive notice by email, and by mail to all the other members of the association at the last mailing address that the association has.
Can you opt out of being given?
You can get notices by email if you'd like, yes, if you're correct.
Oh, but will definitely get it by mail.
Correct.
Okay,
yes,
got
right,
it. Okay,
exactly.
you can't opt out. So the bottom line is the association saves a ton of money in postage and photocopies, but they put the governing docs and rules on their website instead of having to mail them to everybody, especially if it's a tomb.
Right, exactly.
Big,
this big right,
Bible.
which they typically
of course,
are. Right?
Yeah.
So finally, the act shall take effect July 1st, 2024. We're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
April, May, June, 3 months.
Yeah.
3 months from there, right? So in only 3.5 months, if you don't have a website, get one. Notice it doesn't say that you must get one though. So you
must
can
with
put it
condos,
up. Well,
though.
right, you must with condos. This doesn't mandate, but obviously now,
It sort of does, though, doesn't it?
it sort of says, well, how stupid are you going to be to now spend a crazy amount of money to mail it to everybody?
Cheaper to make a website.
It's cheaper to make a website. Much cheaper to make a website.
Much easier.
Right.
For everyone involved.
So, no, it's not mandatory, but you'd kind of be silly not to make a website at this point. And again, you got to do all this in 3 months. And remember, this was passed because, like you said, there was already a condo law that required posting of the condo docs on the website. But now, even though HOAs don't have to have a website, like we say, this law encourages it. And I can tell you, this is only the little tip of the iceberg.
Gosh.
This isn't even 1% of 1% of what just happened this past week, believe me. And
Why has it taken so long? Half the state lives in a community association.
I will tell you something.
It's been the Wild West.
And I hope he's listening at the moment. But this is something that Jan Bergman from Cyber Citizens for Justice, he's been praying for a year like this for all eternity. He's always, without exception, has been pushing for unit owner rights, more accessibility to documents, more criminal punishment, more civil punishment should people do things where they're stealing and things like that. And finally, the Florida legislature was listening this year and said, we hear you. Absolutely, we hear you. There's been too many bad actors out there, especially
HOAs.
You take a look at the Hammocks case this year. Look,
you can't have that.
The Hammocks case did it in terms of now having access to records, in terms of having fair elections, in terms of having referrals to state prosecutors. The Hammocks case is always going to be known for that, just like, unfortunately, the Surfside case, the Champlain Tower case, is always going to be this unfortunate situation that required massive changes to structural safety laws.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I will tell you that when the law passed the House, overwhelmingly, I called Vicki Lopez's office, Representative Lopez's office, and I spoke to her legislative aide, and I said, this is fantastic that it passed. And the comeback to me was, it's unfortunate that it took the death of 98 victims to get it.
By the way,
that's what I'm preaching.
The federal government, they haven't figured out what happened yet, but they think it was the pool deck. I mean, they're getting closer.
Right, exactly.
They're getting closer and closer to saying definitively what
was
failed.
The pool deck. Yeah, but you had underneath the pool deck.
But they were trying to check also those pillars.
There were columns removed.
Yeah.
Why? There were columns removed from the garage. Why would you remove columns?
So someone get their big car in there.
Yeah, that's potentially what it was. So it was just a disaster, just an
A load-bearing column was removed.
So again, I always, when I teach this, I say we can argue all day long about why it collapsed. Was it a column removed? Was it the pool deck? Was it the building next door built too close?
A combination of things.
It fell because of one reason: lack of money.
Yeah.
That's why it fell.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'll tell you this: those people certainly did not die in vain. Their death has resulted in massive changes to condo law and safety laws going forward, and their families should know that their family members did not die in vain, and because of them, I'm telling you, going forward, they saved lives going forward.
Thank God.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, this is only the tip of the iceberg, everybody. Next week, we'll start teaching House Bill 1021. A lot of new changes went on. I'm telling you, we can talk the next year about the new changes. You have no idea just what happened.